Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
In a bid to ascertain the viability of the bimodal voter accreditation system, the BVAS, and as part of preparations for the 2023 general elections, the INEC is set to conduct a mock accreditation exercise in Delta State. The acting head of Department of Voter Education and Publicity in the state, Bukola Ojeme, had on Tuesday disclosed this in a statement, adding that the exercise was scheduled to hold Saturday, the 4th of February, in 12 selected polling units across 3 senatorial districts and 6 local government areas. The INEC yesterday met with the leadership of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, the NNPC Limited, to seek ways to guarantee adequate supply of petroleum products for the Commission's vehicles, hired vehicles and boats to be deployed for the elections across the country. Speaking at a meeting in Abuja, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, said the Commission is determined to overcome the perennial challenge of late commencement of polls on the grounds of logistics, hence the need to seek the support of the NNPC Limited.
Hence, in our effort to mobilize every national institution and give Nigerians a pleasant experience on election day, the Commission believes that the NNPC, as our national oil company, is one of the critical institutions that can facilitate the attainment of our objective. We are aware of the efforts of the NNPC to ease the current in earnest. At the same time, we would like to consider the following proposals. Number 1, the use of NNPC mountain station is our election duty vehicles and boats. We will bear the cost of the product, but doing so, there will be guaranteed supply for them. 2, a special with market to cover locations where the NNPC may not have dedicated station. And 3, consider.
That was the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu. In his response, according to our rally at Adenekon, the NNPC Limited CEO, Mele Kokiari, had assured that the company is working to address within a week the current fuel scarcity experienced across the country.
And we'll work with your logistic teams to identify those areas where we may not have presence, so that we can bring in other marketing companies into the conversation so that products are made available to all the 100,000 vehicles that you have indicated. There will be no, Mr. Chairman, we are present but where we will provide a process for a commercial between the other marketing companies so that when you need this product, you will have it. Also, in addition to this, Mr. Chairman, we are the only company that has floating mega stations in the country. All is available for the purpose of the marine operations in the coastal and the riverine areas of our country. I assure you that just as you have indicated, we have taken very extreme measures to see that we can contain the current distribution challenges that we have, and we believe that within the next 1 week there will be significant relief, not elimination of the.
From that, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, has allayed the fears that the old notes will no longer be tenable after the expiration of the February deadline. Speaking when he appeared before the Doguwa-led House of Representatives ad hoc committee, Naira redesign and Naira swap policy pledged to adhere to sections 20 subsection 5 and should be allowed to deposit their oats with the Apex Bank even after the February 10 deadline, as stipulated by the CBN Act. And Chief, who had earlier failed to honor the House's invitations, explained to the lawmakers that he was out of the country. Godwin Emefiele, the reason for directing only ATM withdrawal to limit the date of individual policies was in the interest of the country in combating insecurity. He ordered the sums in circulation years before and currently
In 20, currency in circulation was 1.4 trillion. October 2022, currency in circulation had risen 8.23 trillion, more than double in 7 out of the trillion. More than 2.7 trillion were outside systems. What that does is that our mandate of monetary policy very difficult.
Nigerian Forbes Index, the CPIN, which was released by the Transparency International, where the country maintained its previous year's score, or out of 100 points, in the 2022 CPI. Briefing reporters in Abuja on Tuesday, Executive Director, Civil Society of Advocacy Center and Transparency International, Awal Ibrahim Rafsanjani, said in the country's comparison for the corresponding 2022, 950 out of 180 countries compared to 154 CPI. According to Rafsanjani, the data collected by CISLAC or Transparency International Nigeria by independent organizations with sound research method.
The index recorded 24 out of 100 points in the 2022 index. Compared to 2021 index, there has been no change in between 2021. In comparison for 2022, CPI 150 out of 180 countries compared to 154 on the 2021 Corruption Perception Index results. So you could see that not much, changes. However, encourage even the anti-corruption agencies that we are very much confident on the.
That was the Executive Director, CISLAC and Transparency, Rafsanjani. Former Deputy Senate President Ike Ekweremadu and his wife appeared in a London court Tuesday ahead of their trial for organ. However, his accused daughter was unable to. She is in hospital. The former Deputy Senate President is accused, along with his wife Beatrice, daughter Sonia, as well as a doctor, of bringing a 21 Nigeria to have his kidney removed so that it could be given to her. The court, after convening yesterday in order for the report. The accuser is said to have raised the alarm after consent to the procedure following preliminary tests at a North London hospital. The Ekweremadus were arrested in June last year at London's Heathrow Airport after flying into the UK. Members of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, in Etiosa Federal Constituency, Lagos, yesterday came out in large numbers to support the re-election bid of the party's candidate for House of Representatives, Ibrahim Olajide Obanikoro. Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Femi Hamzat, in his address at the occasion, had advised youths to desist from using social media for the propagation of fake news, but rather concentrate on electing leaders with records of achievements. Speaking to newsmen at the event, the lawmaker Ibrahim Olajide Obanikoro had called for more participation of youths in politics, stating that young people have been playing active roles in government for a very long time. Obanikoro had said he wants to return to the National Assembly to complete some activities started in his first term.
I have moved 8 motions and presented 3 bills. The bills are in the first stage now. One of my priorities is to make sure they go through second reading and third reading and become an act. And then on the motion aspect, I want the motions to see the light of day. I've moved motions that barracks should be renovated, that are yet to commence on that. I've moved motions that our waterways, especially the ocean side, should be addressed. The ocean surge, they can stop the surge by quickly addressing it now. It's affecting my people in Okumokwa and Okwa in that area, into Alpha Beach. So these are some of the motions that I've moved that have not seen the light of day, that I want to make sure they see the light of day.
Our correspondent reports that also present at the event were several leaders of the APC, including former Deputy Governor of Lagos, Femi Pedro, amongst others. And still in Lagos, the state government has described its unified scheme of work and launch of the mobile learning devices, the e-books, for secondary school students as groundbreaking and designed to revolutionize teaching and learning in schools in Lagos. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu had made the remark yesterday at the unveiling of the scheme and the launch of the devices for secondary school students, which took place at the NECA House in Alausa, Ikeja. He said the framework for the new schemes was geared towards promoting deep learning. The governor further said it was for learners to take ownership of knowledge acquisition through strategies which reflect 21st century skills and international best practices. According to him, the feedback so far is that the reviewed scheme is an additional resource for better teaching and learning driven by technology, which has created active participation of learners. You're listening to the news this morning. Outside the country, Pope Francis has landed in Kinshasa ahead of his two-nation visit to the continent. The Pope is due to hold a mass in the city today, Wednesday. The Democratic Republic of Congo is home to Africa's biggest Catholic community, and this will be the country's first papal visit in nearly 4 decades. Later in the week, he will be joined by the Church of England's most senior cleric, the Archbishop of Canterbury, and by the moderator of the Church of Scotland, when the Pope travels to South Sudan. He is expected to urge political leaders to bring an end to years of hostilities in Africa. The pontiff, who will stay in Kinshasa for 3 days, is due to travel to South Sudan on Friday. And now we look at the business scene, where the House of Reps has approved the request restructuring of 1 trillion additional ways and means advances for implementation of the 2022 Supplementary Appropriation Act as passed by the National Assembly. President Muhammadu Buhari had requested an approval of 23.7 trillion naira, but the House is seeking further engagement with the executive to allow for thorough and detailed work and submissions on a larger part of the advances, which amounts to 22.72 trillion naira. The House, like the Senate will consider the 22.72 trillion naira after properly engaging the executive. On the 28th of December, the Senate had stepped down the restructuring of the 22.7 trillion naira Ways and Means request until more documents were presented for further legislative action. And in sports news, a total of 29 Nigerian referees will today, Wednesday, 1st of February, receive their badges to operate as FIFA match officials for the year 2023. The event will take place inside the NFF Secretariat at Moshood Abiola National Stadium, Abuja. 7 will be badged as FIFA referees, while another 7 will be decorated as assistant referees. And as the European transfer window closed yesterday, some of the major highlights: Chelsea have agreed a British record €121 million deal for Benfica's 22-year-old Argentine midfielder Enzo Fernandez. Arsenal have agreed a £12 million deal with Chelsea to sign Italy midfielder Jorginho. And Manchester United are in talks with Bayern Munich as at press time over a loan deal for Austria midfielder Marcel Sabitzer.
Lagos Talks
91.3.